Hey guys, welcome back to This Sucks. Alright, and don't forget, we do have a GoFundMe page to help support our family as things progress with the cancer diagnosis, never really knowing what's coming next. And, you know, all of that will go to help pay for medical bills, but also other types of bills that come up, especially if it ends up being that I have to take time off of work and all of those things. So link below, and there's probably one popping up on the screen as I speak. I don't think this is going to be a super long update. There's, I mean, some good news. There's no like drastic changes to really share about. The big one is that I was finally able to start back on the oral chemo meds at a lower dose again. And so far, I'm handling it way better than the last two times. The last couple times, just as a reminder, the first time I ended up in the hospital. Woohoo! The second time I took 2 doses of it, and by the next morning I was already experiencing such drastic side effects that like there was the basically uncontrollable diarrhea that no medication was helping. I got a fever, and the nausea was so bad that I couldn't eat anything at like the start of the day, and I almost like I wanted to curl up on the ground. I just felt terrible. So this time I was like, you know, hoping for the best, bracing for the worst, and it didn't happen. Still having the diarrhea side effects, but medication seems to be able to control it. Sometimes it takes a little bit to kind of get to the point where it feels like it's under control, which is okay. And I think eventually my body is gonna get a little bit more used to it, and I will come up with a better kind of system for managing that. I haven't had a fever, although there've been a few times where I felt a little feverish, but when I took my temperature, it was fine. And I've had a couple small points where I felt nauseous, but taking my anti-nausea meds and just kind of taking it easy has solved the problem, and it's never gotten to a point where I have vomited or felt like I couldn't eat. So, yay! I have now been on it. Today is day 7 of being on those meds. So I have now reached the point where I was on it the last time before I got hospitalized. I was only on it 1 full week that first time before I went to the emergency room for the first time. So that's a good sign. I was definitely getting super anxious that I wasn't on medication. And when I finally got the call, actually, I didn't get the call. I had to call them on Monday, this past Monday, because I hadn't heard anything. I'd spoken to the case manager the Thursday before. I'd finished up all of my doses of the steroid I was on, the prednisone, and they wanted to make sure I was fully off of that. And I said I was off. I didn't have any other side effects. And she's like, okay, great, I'll send a message to your doctor. You know, we'll be in touch. Well, they'd already told me what the plan was. The plan was we were gonna lower the dose on the medication and try again. So I was like, why aren't I just hearing from the pharmacy? Like, that's what we did the last time. So I expected later in the day on Thursday or Friday, I would hear something, and no one called. So it's been almost 2 months of not being on any type of treatment. And I shared with you in the last video how like anxiety producing that is. And so then I went through this whole weekend of going, what are we doing? What's the plan? And on Monday at about 11, I think, I decided to call them because I hadn't heard anything. And I sat on hold for over an hour just trying to get through to my oncologist's office. So I was also extremely frustrated by the time I got on the phone, and essentially in tears because I was just so like angry that I had to wait so long, frustrated that they hadn't contacted me about it. And you know, and she could hear it in my voice. And she's like, well, oh, okay, yeah, you know, let's look at this. I figured someone would have contacted you. We'll have someone contact you ASAP. And within an hour, I had gotten a phone call, and they were like, oh, yep, here's the plan. You know, here's the new dosage for the medication, and let's see what happens. And I was like, cool, let's do it. I did, for those of you who are watching and are like, an hour on hold, I did put in a complaint because it's not that office's fault. I mean, this is a bigger organization, and it has to do with like their phone tree system and how appointments are made and all kinds of stuff. So I did make a complaint and sent it off. I've already gotten a letter back saying that they have contacted like the person or the, you know, the group that's kind of in charge of that. And I really think with the pandemic and everything, they changed how this office's phone tree worked. And it used to be that you could, you know, call in and it would be like, for scheduling, press 1, for the pharmacy, press 2, you know, and it would kind of send you off in different directions. Well, now it's like, for COVID information, press 1, for everything else, press 2. And then essentially that 2 is going to one person. And when you have this large office dealing with all of these patients, that's unrealistic. So I'm hoping that the group that handles all of the scheduling and the phone system and everything is going to listen to that and go, oops, and fix it. But we'll see. And if I have to put in another complaint, I will. So fingers crossed that that all gets resolved. Anyway, so still dealing with some side effects, but mostly they're manageable. Pain-wise, doing okay. Before I started the new meds, I felt like I was well, I mean, and I can even go back and check because I keep track of all of the medications that I take. That's important. And especially with the pain meds, I was kind of, I'd kind of increased the amount that I was taking, and I seem to be hurting more, especially in my pelvis and my leg. And maybe it's wishful thinking, maybe not, but over the last week when I've been taking this medication, looking at the amount of pain meds that I've been taking, that seems to have tapered off some, especially the last few days. I've actually woken up and not been hurting as much, which is new. Usually I wake up going, this kind of sucks. And then I haven't had to take pain meds quite as soon in the morning. And then like yesterday, we were out and about and having fun with family and everything. And I had taken pain meds before we left because I was like, we're going to be walking around. We're going to be doing lots of stuff. And so then essentially my pain meds, I can take them every 4 hours. Well, I didn't have to take them again until we were on our way home. Actually, I don't think I took, no, I didn't even take them until we got home, which was like 5 p.m. I could have taken them sooner, but I didn't want to because I was riding in the car, and sometimes they can make me a little nauseous. So, but yeah, I was actually doing really, really well and didn't really start hurting until much later in the afternoon, which was great. And some of that could be that I was just staying busy and I was kind of out of my own head and not really thinking about the pain and stuff. I want to say part of it is because of the meds, and maybe the meds are doing something awesome. And so fingers crossed that that's the case and that I'm going to continue to see, you know, some improvement. But I'm sure there's going to be, you know, still good days and bad days. And I think the most important part is I decided when we started this round of medication that even if I had side effects, that I was going to push through, and I was going to work on trying to deal with them as best as possible. And then if I ended up back in the hospital again, we would know these aren't the meds for me, and we would deal with it at that time. So far, so good. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And then as far as the pain goes, kind of the same thing, working through it, you know, taking my meds as I need it, but still living our life and still having fun. Some of you may have seen some of the videos we've started to drop. We're going out and we're just checking out food carts. Portland and the Portland area in general has seen this absolute explosion of food carts, and specifically like these food cart pods that keep popping up, where they've literally like, it's essentially become this whole area that's built up around these food carts, where there's like a central area with like picnic tables, and sometimes like fully like built out covered areas, sometimes built-in bars and things that are kind of the central part of it, and then the food carts all surround it. And there's countless of them all around the Portland metro area, with so many different variations of cuisine that you can try. And so we decided as a family that, you know what, as something fun to do, to get out, try new things, we're gonna do this. And so that's what we've been doing the last couple weekends. We've been inviting our family to come and join us. And it's been so much fun. And so we're just gonna kind of push through that. Next weekend, we're talking about trying it, like before school starts and everything, we're talking about trying to take a trip to the beach. And so, you know, despite everything, or in spite of everything, still trying to live our lives, have fun, and really take advantage of the time that we have. Because you never know. You never know how much time any of us have. And so again, trying to stay positive. In my head, I'm a very realistic person, as we've kind of talked about in previous videos. And so sometimes that's hard. But overall, I think things are going in the right direction. And I cannot thank you guys enough for all of that support and keeping me positive, keeping me honest, and just offering all of those things that you do every single time I post one of these videos. Yeah. All right, I think that is all for today. I always say this, I'm always like, this isn't gonna be a long video, and then it's like 10 minutes later. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Be kind, make good choices, and I'll see you next time or in the next stream.